Hey there, thanks for watching. Today we're going to assemble a Pixelcade Pin DMD LED matrix display. So real quick, just go over all our parts here. We've got our custom mount here. This is laser cut. 2 LED panels. Got some ribbon cables, mounting board. Got some hardware over here. Power supply, custom power cable, USB cable. And then lastly, the actual Pixel LED controller board itself. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing you want to do is take off the masking tape. So it's actually optional. You could leave it on actually, but let's just go ahead and take it off. So each side of this laser cut acrylic has some masking tape. So let's just go ahead and peel that off. Okay, so we got that done. We're all set to go. First thing we want to do is we've got 2 zip ties. So let's take these zip ties and string it through these 2 little oval holes here. And these zip ties are just going to help us with our cable management. Okay. And then we've got our board itself. So the board is going to mount actually here on this guy. But before we do that, we need to go ahead and take our nylon nut screw and just put it in here. Okay, so let's repeat that 3 times. Okay, so we got that done. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing on our board mount. And on the board mount, so basically the board is going to go like this. And so we need to put these additional ones on the side like this. So let's just do that right now. Okay, so that's done. Okay, so we'll come back to that. At this point, we want to go ahead and mount the LED panels themselves, so let's go ahead and do that. So you'll see a little arrow here pointing up. So this is up, and then on your LED panels, there's also an arrow. Make sure that's pointing up. So we're just going to keep it like this and put it on the bottom. And then you're just going to line up the screws here, and they're also notched, so you'll see, let's see, where's the notch? Notch is right there. So there's 2 notches right here and right here. Those line up. That also makes it a lot easier. Okay, so same thing on this side. I'm going to make sure it's up. Do the same thing. Okay, all good there. And then basically we've got 12 screws to screw in. So let's just get any old Phillips screwdriver and screw in these 12 screws. All right, so this sequence is actually pretty important. So before you mount the board on like this, we want to connect the ribbon cable the two panels via this ribbon cable here. This ribbon cable is notched, so you see there's a little notch right there. You can't screw up, so it only goes in one way. So go ahead and plug that in like so. And then the way you want to do this is just go like that, such that when you put the board on, that this is basically out of the way, so you get a nice flush mount for your board. And then we can go ahead and just screw down with these hex nuts the board mount, actually. So let's go ahead and do that. This, by the way, is just a little hex nut, little wrench. But if you don't have one of these, you can just use your hand like this. And it just takes a little bit longer, but you can just hand tighten it. It doesn't have to be super tight. All right, cool. So we got our board mounted, board mount rather. Now let's get the actual board. So this is the Pixel LED controller board. This is the brains of the whole project, actually. So we're just going to take this USB connectors right here. That's going to correspond to the USB text on the board mount. Just line that up and then just go ahead and plop it on. A little bit of a tight fit, but just go ahead and push it down. And then we got 4 more hex nuts, and we'll just screw these in here. Okay, this last one's kind of hard because there's just not that much room. So if you don't make this last one, don't even sweat it. There's plenty of, the board is already plenty tight and is not going to go anywhere, as you can see. But I'll just put it in here just to be complete. Okay, there we go. Again, a little tricky just because there's not that much room. Okay, so see our board is nice and tight. Make sure on the toggle switch on this board that this little switch here is pointing towards USB and not towards BT. BT is Bluetooth. So if we were using a Bluetooth dongle and an Android app to control this, we'd have it on BT. But here it's a PinDMD. It's going to plug into the USB port of your PC. And then lastly, don't forget to put this power shunt little switch, plug this in right here. If you don't do that, the board actually won't power on, so that's important. Then we'll take our second IDC ribbon cable and plug one in like this, and then the other end will go here. And again, these cables are notched, so it only goes in one way. Now let's go ahead and plug in the power cable. So this is the power cable for the LEDs. These cables are also notched, so no possibility to make a mistake. So we'll put one end on this side and the other end on this side. And then here, this male end is going to plug into the board right there. And then this other end is going to plug into your power supply. Now, very important that you only use the 5-volt 10 amp power supply that comes with the kit. If you turn this over, you'll see it says 5 volts on the bottom. Had one guy that plugged in a 12-volt power supply, which unfortunately is the same connector, so it's an easy mistake to make. But 12 volts will actually fry this whole thing, and everything was ruined. So just make sure you only use this power supply and don't use any other one. So now what we can do is just use our zip ties and just make this a little bit neater. So I like to have this part kind of in the middle, so we'll just take this one, kind of leave it there, and then wrap up our cables here. So let's do one end like so. And then this other end will go like this. And keep in mind, we need to leave this room open for the USB connector, because remember, this is going to USB connect to your PC. So we just got to leave some space for that. Okay. And then, you know, I got some other zip ties. You can do one more here if you like. Okay. So that is our zip ties. Okay, we should just double check, make sure everything's still working. That's always a good idea. Okay, so we're still good. And then, like I said, at the end of the day, I don't ship it like this, but when you get it, you're just going to take your USB. This is a USB, it's called a USB A to A cable, so it's got the USB A connection on each side. And one end is going to go here, and the other end is going to go into your PC. And we do ship with both a 6-foot and a 10-foot cable. And you may need 10-foot depending on your installation. So you got both sides there if you need it. And that's pretty much it. So thanks very much for checking out this video.